Foot's already asleep. And we are gonna do our best to get through this. We're gonna make it through together. Pardon me. Foot's already asleep. Let's get into it. This is my cleansing aura spray that I am now telling you guys about. I like to give some practical advice for the energies that we're currently experiencing, and right now this is helping me. Air and water. Aquarius, the water bearer. Aquarius Full Moon is why we're here. This is going to be a slightly chaotic video today. I just want to go ahead and forewarn anyone who's watching. And I also want to thank anyone who is watching for tuning into this stream of chaos that has been my YouTube channel. And I thank you for letting me be a beginner, and I thank you for letting me feel it out as I go along, and I learn how to do this as I go along, and for being graceful whenever things happen. Just like today, I don't have my little clip on my microphone, and it's also it's dead-ish. It's not 100% dead, but I think it might die during this video. Anyways, we're gonna spray. It's lavender, vanilla, and lemon. Very delicious. Supposedly this was a bug spray recipe. I have not found that it works for my own personal experience, but who's to say that it doesn't work for someone else? All right, August the 9th, 2025, Saturn Day in Aquarius, which is ruled by Saturn, partially ruled by Saturn, partially ruled by Uranus. Saturn is at 1 degree of Aries, exactly conjunct, not exactly, but mostly conjunct Neptune at 1 degree of Aries. Technically, 0 degrees of Aries is the first degree point of the whole zodiac. And it just so happens that Saturn and Neptune are in retrograde together right now, and they will be making an exact conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries in February of 2026. So that is going to be coming. And that, I believe, is, obviously already in the works. We are already seeing those planets. We've been seeing those planets working together. Saturn and Neptune together is dissolving structures, dissolving belief systems, dissolving pain, dissolving karma, dissolving cycles, dissolving, old stuff. Saturn is old stuff. Saturn is traditional stuff. Saturn is heavy stuff. And it is heavily karmic. And so, what old karma is being washed away for you? What has happened in your life since November of last year, 2024, when Pluto moved into Aquarius, sparking this new pattern of stars in the sky? And this old pattern is, I'm imagining this like film of dirt that's getting pressure washed off of us, but it's also like, it's not fast, like a pressure washer is fast and it's immediate, and it's, that's a very Aries sensation, is pressure washing. But like these are outer planets, they move slower, and this is old stuff that's been caked on for a long time, and it's really good at holding on. And it's Saturn is really good at holding on. Saturn is really good at sticking it out even when no one else wants to stick it out, and it's really hard. So I'm picturing this film that's on us, and it's like it's like this. It's like folding down, and it's like we're getting it layer by layer. We're having to like chisel it down bit by bit, and it's like sliding down, and it's goopy and gross and disgusting and slimy and sticky and waxy and fucking, yeah. It's being peeled away and chiseled away bit by bit, and as soon as you thought you had gotten done dealing with it, guess what? You're back in it again, and here we are again, because we have 4 retrograde planets, and we have some interesting alignments. Really, the sun and the moon are not themselves doing anything special besides being in opposition for the full moon. The sun is in Leo. The moon is in Aquarius. We're working with fixed energy here. We're working with stuck energy. We're working with stubborn and determined and fucking loyal to a fault, to the point where, it's just like, give it up already. Like, just let it go, or just realize how stuck it's been within you, and realize that it's not gone, and it is stuck, fixed. And it's like, the word stuck, none of us are ever stuck anywhere, but it's that fixed aspect that it's like, that's the sticky stuff that requires grit, and it requires aspects like what we are seeing in the sky today. And I'm recording this today on the 7th of August. Tomorrow is the 8/8 portal, the Lion's Gate portal, and whether or not you believe astrologically that this is a significant time or not, I personally believe that 8/8 and all of the beautiful numerology moments that we see throughout the calendar in our numbers is significant. And so if you don't choose to participate in Lionsgate, that's fine. It just so happens we also have a full moon on the Lionsgate, so it's kind of funny how that always works out, isn't it? Like, there's always maybe just like a little something. I've noticed this year the pagan holidays have also been lining up with the astrology. So anyways, there's no coincidences. Let's just remember that. And you want to use the word portal a million times, that's fine. Every single day is a portal. Every single moment we're given an opportunity to activate, to avoid, to make our choices in how we interact with the energies around us, because the energy, it's always changing, but like, the energy is available to us at any time for us to utilize, for us to connect with, for us to, do our rituals and do what we need to do to survive here on Earth, and do our silly little sit in our parks. I'm sitting in a cemetery today because I have exhausted every single park in this city. I have gotten to the point where I am feeling these Aquarius full moon energies and realizing how much of my stuff I have yet to lay to rest fully. Stuff that has been stuck and fixed and gross, and stuff that needs to be laid to rest. So I brought my stuff to the cemetery today. So just, I wanted to get a better thing here. I got a new tripod. Anyways, it's not good enough. We're working on it. We're building, and we're beginners, and we're here on subject talking about the full moon. So let's talk about it. These aspects that are showing us what's up and that are helping us, they are Venus and Jupiter conjunct in in Cancer. Venus and Jupiter are both the benefic planets in astrology. So these are the bringers of good fortune. These are the bringers of good things. These guys are the guys you want to be hanging out with. You know. I don't really believe archetypes can be one thing or another, you know, like good or bad, blank slates of that, or blanket statements over those things. But I do objectively understand that Venus and Jupiter bring good things. They bring things that, you know, concern with comfort and love and pleasure and happiness and joy and peace. And those two together is really powerful. But those two together in Cancer, listen, let's talk about it. Jupiter and Venus are neither of them in retrograde. So we've got all systems go there, but we are in Cancer. And Cancer, yeah, Cancer is a crybaby. Cancer is feeling big things. Cancer is sensitive. Cancer is wanting to take care of everyone, wanting to make sure everybody is fed, everybody is taken care of, and feeling at home, feeling loved, feeling comfort. And she even wants, you know, all across all timelines, Cancer wants everyone to be okay. And so she's going over the past too. She's very nostalgic. You know, the moon is the ruler of Cancer, and she is a reflective body. Pardon me, it's been a very emotional time for me. So I'm going to do my best to get through this video. Cancer wants to go back over the past and see, is everybody okay after what happened? You know, like, after what happened, what do we need? What do we need? What do we need to repair? What do we need to be okay? Do we need to cry? Chances are the answer is yes. Do we need to self-care? Chances are yes. Do we need to transmute these emotions, these emotional waters, into creativity? Because Cancer is the womb and the mother, and she's very fertile, and she is excited to create, and she's excited to give birth to new things that make people happy, you know, and that make people reminded of why life is worth living, and the happiness and joy of family, togetherness, tenderness, closeness, you know, all the things. So maybe we're going over the past, and maybe we're upset about how things went, and maybe we are coping in however we need to cope with that. And speaking of, coping, and but at the same time, maybe we can look back and see, because this is not the first time we've been dealing with these issues. This is not the first time that we've had some of these aspects come up as well, and we've been dealing with those for a while, and we've been hearing the rumblings in the side. And so at this point, whatever's coming up is not new. And it is not something that we haven't, hopefully it's something that we've been dealing with in some degree or another. And so this is feeling a little bit more manageable, and it's feeling a little bit more, despite the overwhelm and despite the expansion of the feelings, because Jupiter and Venus together is expansion of the feelings, expansion of, you know, love feelings, looking back over your old relationships, looking back over your old, you know, like how you valued yourself or not, and, you know, stuff like that. So how you took care of yourself or not, how you were your own parent or not, And so with everything being really intense, because Jupiter blows that sensitivity of Cancer up, it still might feel a little bit more manageable because of us dealing with this in the past. We've had a couple of these other same aspects come up already, so maybe we can look back and see that we're coping in a better way than we have been in the past. For me, I'm pretty stoked that I am just drinking a yerba mate instead of an alcoholic beverage. Or, you know, doing a dab or whatever it is. I'm not here to say I'm, you know, against either of those things explicitly, but to where I was with these substances was not a healthy place, and those were my coping mechanisms, and I am very grateful to see that they have changed. And yeah, nothing's completed, nothing's 100% healed, never will be, but I'm acknowledging how far I've come and where I'm at now. So acknowledge yourself and don't get too tunnel visioned on what's happening now. Look at the process, look at the cycle, look at how many times this has come up and give yourself grace. Venus and Jupiter is definitely like giving yourself grace. And it's also been this benefic presence. The personal planet of Venus with this outer planet Jupiter, both of them dealing with benefic, you know, godly divinity energy. And it's these energies of feeling like the presence of God in your life. And, you know, can we tune into that? Can we find God when we actually are looking? Are we even looking for God when we're out there? Because if we're not looking, we're not going to find it. So just remember that as well. The other aspects that we have, this is the one that we've had a couple of times now. It is Mars opposite Saturn and Neptune. Like I said, Saturn and Neptune together at 1 degrees of Aries. Very close to the beginning of the cycle. Starting something new. Mars is now at 1 degree of Libra. It just switched from from Virgo to Libra. So what did we do this past month with Mars in Virgo? How did we take that energy to clear ourselves out and prepare ourselves for this Mars Libra? The thing about Virgo and Libra cusp is Virgo is the last sign that deals with personal matters. When we move the first 6 signs are about personal things. The last 6 signs are about relational things and about how we relate to others and how we exist outside of our own personal individual selves. Now that we've gone through Mars with Virgo and we've done some clearing out, you know, fasting or detoxing or exercising or whatever it is, now we're moving into Mars in Libra, and Mars in Libra is like, okay, but now that I've got myself together, now that I've got my detox down, how does that work with other people? How do I show up among others now? And I think the opposition, unfortunately, we're working with the 2 malefic planets now, Mars and Saturn. And these are the ones that don't bring the good fortune, guys. These are the ones that bring the consequences. Saturn, the pain. Mars cuts. You know, who do we need to cut off right now? Who is at the point where we are done? Enough is enough. I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, who am I kidding? You know, why am I keeping these people around when it's just not for me? It's just really not working for me. So the thing with the Mars and Virgo would have also been discernment. what do we need to cut out? That is like, we're raising the standards of ourselves. Virgo is high standards, and it's opulence, and it's it's the high priestess, and she is not afraid to cut out whatever she needs to cut out in order to become that, in order to be what she knows she needs to be, because she has a duty and a responsibility. Earth signs deal with responsibilities, and now we're in the air sign of Libra. There could be some options that we're weighing, and we're not really sure about what decision to make. Mercury is still in Leo, and it's retrograde, but it is going direct on the 11th, so 2 days after this full moon. I would wait to make any rash decisions till that day, but also I love the idea that retrogrades bring you deeper clarity rather than is a time of like, no, don't make any decisions. It's like, actually, maybe now's the time to make decisions, because now you can see things a little bit more clear than before, because you're taking a step back to review and be with everything that's changing, because everything is changing really fast. I don't know if you guys are feeling that, but it's August of 2025. Here we are. This year has been crazy, and this year has been shocking. Uranus in Gemini is like, every single time I open my phone, I'm like shocked by yet another piece of information that is coming out that absolutely rocks me to my core. And this is, happening collectively and individually, for me, with the information that's coming through. So if that's the case for you, know that you're not alone. It's just a lot for our nervous systems, and it's a lot for us to continue to hold in the mind and have a mental health story about it all. Excuse me. How are we all just expected to carry what we're being presented with in the world right now? But anyways, and this is real, this is like the stuff that is real. This is the stuff that the Capricorn energy that comes before Aquarius wants to put down underneath the rug and sweep it under the rug and say everything's fine and just go about his business as usual. And Aquarius is like, actually, I can't wear this mask anymore. I think if one more person asks me if I'm going to be okay, I'm going to flip a table. Or I'm going to, lose it. And that's okay. Losing it's not okay. Yes, lose it if you need to lose it, and do it in a healthy way if you can. But Lord, we gotta let it go. We gotta open that valve, like on the fixed energy stuff. It's always like, how can we find that release valve on this stuff that's been stuck for so long? How can we try to figure out how to just relieve a little bit of pressure around some of that stuff? And with Aquarius stuff, it's about like, where have I pushed myself down to fit the masks and fit society and fit whatever, people pleasing bullshit? Where have I self-betrayed myself? That could be part of what we're looking back over our life in the past and saying, I'm upset that I wasn't taken care of in all of this. I was too busy taking care of everybody else and people pleasing everybody else that I didn't get taken care of. Or maybe it's vice versa. Like, you were too selfish and you took care of yourself and you isolated perhaps, and now you have no one. And it can be, like, it can be so easy to find yourself there. And it's almost like, how did we get here? Because we were just doing what we had to do to survive. If that meant to retreat, if that meant to isolate, if that meant to, go hermit mode, or go off of social media or whatever it is. Like, it's just been so overwhelming. Like, none of that is being demonized here in this video, just so you know. It's just like, where are we and how do we get to where we want to go if we're not there? And how do we also just acknowledge where we are and be graceful for towards ourselves about the state we find ourselves in. Yeah, talking to you inside of a cemetery, so I feel you. There have been happier times. So that's you know, really interesting that we see the both benefic planets doing a thing together. They're together. They're 3 degrees apart in Cancer. And then we have the square, or the opposition of Mars, Saturn, and Neptune. What anger? You know, Mars deals with anger. What anger from other people do we still have yet to process that is being broken down by the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, and it's being dissolved, right? Neptune dissolves. North Node in Pisces, we're still forgiving ourselves, people in our past, people in our present, people that we might not ever get that apology from, but we're still forgiving them for our own mental health, Libra, our own peace and well-being, Libra, our own sense of justice. Libra wants to bring things into balance, into justice. And, you know, that's a tricky one. Libra's so interesting because it's an air sign and it deals with people pleasing. It deals with, you know, being out of balance and giving yourself away to others. But it also has this flip side to it. In Hellenistic astrology, Libra was ruled by Saturn as well as Venus. And Saturn is the laws. And, you know, we know that Libra, the scales, is associated with the judicial system and justice. And so what happens inside of those systems that sometimes gets people upset? There can be a lack of emotional involvement when it comes to serving justice in the justice system. And what happens when we put those emotions away and we say, okay, what is objectively right and wrong in this particular situation? It might not always be the outcome that anybody wants. It might be something that is fair. Back up. It might be something that is, at the end of the day, just, but is it fair? You know, is it tender? Is it soft? Is it... And with the Libra being ruled by Venus aspect, it's like, we definitely have room for that. But it doesn't always happen that way. And it doesn't always, especially with that going on, the Mars and Libra going on next to this Cancer, Venus, Jupiter situation. You know, we're extra sensitive. We're extra in our feels. And we could need that extra, like, level of care. Maybe we need it, but we're not going to get it. And we have to figure out how to deal with that. Lots going on here. I think at best what we can expect with Aquarius as far as this full moon goes, it's helping us to detach from those emotions. It's helping us to become more objective in the way we view things because it wants us to be free. Ultimately, the goal of Aquarius is always to be authentic and to be free. And what are we still prisoners of at this point? Where have we maybe thought we weren't anymore, but we are? And it's coming up so that we can be free, so that we can see it, so that we can be diligent about dealing with it in a way that's effective, in a way that we actually do become free. And it's not going to happen overnight. Saturn doesn't work overnight. Saturn works over years. But Uranus, however, Uranus shakes it up. Uranus can, play that role of shocking news, new developments that can catapult us and make us figure out, oh wait, we can't go back, period. It's not an option. It is not an option, friends. Going back is not an option. Retrogrades don't mean go back. It means review. It means take a look. Take a look. Think before you act, for sure. But just take a look. See what you missed. See what loose ends still need tied up. See where it is you still are being held prisoner. In your own mind and your own thoughts. And allow yourself to change your mind. Aquarius is an air sign, and we're dealing with fixed ideas, fixed belief systems. What old belief systems have we been carrying that are now we're now being given permission to set down? I know I've already talked about Pluto once today, but Pluto is in Aquarius. We have a full moon in Aquarius. They're not very close together. 17 degrees of the moon. 2 degrees retrograde, Pluto in Aquarius. And so that's a good bit away. But it's still the same sign. And it's still Aquarius, fixed air. If you have anything in your chart that is at the first 10 degrees, 10 degrees of the fixed signs, that's where you want to look at your chart. Fixed signs: Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, Taurus. And also wherever you have 17 degrees of the fixed signs. Sorry. Back up. If you have the first 10 degrees in cardinal signs, or if you have middle points around 17 degrees of the fixed signs. Anyways, I can help you look at your chart. And I promise I know what I'm talking about, even though the chaos is thick right now. The chaos is thick. There's a lot that came up for me around this full moon. And I know I'm not going to be able to talk about all of it, but I will share what I've gathered. First of all, this is happening on Saturday, Saturn Day. So we got extra Saturn energy there. And it's happening on the 9th. The 9th is the last single digit number, and it is a significant number associated with endings and associated with tying up loose ends and associating with the last things. So we got endings and beginnings with those first degrees, and this is also happening at 3:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you please adjust your time according to wherever you are in the planet. So, for me, I've been going over, past stuff, realizing my coping mechanisms. Sorry about the plane. But I don't think the details really matter. I think what I've already said is very much telling of how I'm interpreting this energy. I do want to say the sign Aquarius is represented by two waves. Two waves is the symbol. And is it water? Is it air? Is it electricity? Is it mountains? What is it? What are these symbols? And I am at the understanding that it's all of those things, but especially electricity, because Uranus is involved. It's electric shocks, and it's healing, shocking energy, and it is Kundalini energy. And so the subject of Kundalini is very large, and it's difficult to talk about in a small way. So let me just say that with this full moon, it's very important for us to look at where our energy is going, where our attention goes. Where our intention goes, our energy flows. It's our intention in the mind, and our attention, and our consciousness, right? Our flow of consciousness is truly a currency in this day and age, and in this current warfare that we find ourselves in, spiritual warfare. Buzzwords, whatever. I just think it's important for us to all look at where our energy is, where our thoughts are, and what is consuming our thoughts. What are we consuming energetically, media, what have you, and what are we feeding? We're not only constantly consuming, but we're also feeding this thing, this machine, these thoughts, these belief systems, this whatever, intention. And so now we can take a look and really see where our attention is going, what's got our mind in shackles. So sitting in meditation, doing your sprays, doing your aromatherapy, doing your meditation, doing your singing bowls. Sound has been so healing. It always is, but I love thinking about the healing tools in terms of the elements and how they are associated with the zodiac. So those are my suggestions for us during this time. And it's very important, I think, if anything, to really just understand how important it is that our energy is kept, that we're being discerning with our energy, that we're not giving it away to others, when they don't deserve it. And just see if we can really find where we're still stuck in the mind and where we're still tormented. Fucking tormented. Let's draw a card. Let's draw a rune. If I think of anything else to add in later, I will. I'm sitting under this magnolia tree, and it's so beautiful. It's like the only one in this cemetery that still had flowers on it. And the leaves are so huge that if one falls off, it sounds like a squirrel. Like, it's like that much sound is made when one single leaf falls. It's pretty cool. Anyways, let's do it. We had to bring out the Adventure Time deck because Aquarius wants to let its freak flag fly. That's its superpower, and so my freak flag is Adventure Time. What card from my beautiful Adventure Time deck do we need to look at for this full moon? I like that I can actually shuffle these two. That's what, one's enough. Guys. Yeah. Okay, I didn't even need to draw a card. We're just here. So we've got strength, and it is Jake. If you know, you know. Jake is my guy. Jake is a dog. Jake the dog. He is this character that is so wonderful. He is very Aquarian, actually. He's always doing this thing where it's like, you're just making up fake problems that don't exist, man. You're getting caught up on imaginary problems. This is my favorite cup, and now it's gone, and I don't care about it anymore because it doesn't exist. You know, it's so easy for him to just let it go and just to move on and to, like, you know, throw it out the window. And that takes strength, I'd say. A certain level of detachment can be a strength and a weakness depending on how you use it. The strength card is actually the Leo card. So very relevant still. And it takes strength and courage to be yourself, to be authentically yourself. So that's one of the highlights that came out of the Leo new moon that I did 2 weeks ago. And so letting yourself have the courage to be yourself, to show up authentically in your chaos, with your tears, whatever it is. Being modest about the strength it's taken for you to get to this point. Yeah. It's number 8 card. 8-8, Lion's Gate. What does it mean to you? I want to hear about it. There's no wrong answer, by the way. No one's going to get ridiculed here. Because are any of these weird holidays that humans made up real? yeah, the astrology might be real, but it's, you know, it's changed over the years, it's changed over time, and it's whatever. Who knows what's real? I don't know what's real. I'm not going to pretend to know what's real. I just know what I think. And I think 8-8 sounds pretty cool. So I get to do whatever I want with that. We got the King of Swords too. Rattleballs, if you know. Rattleballs is a robot. He's this guy. He's a gumball machine that is upside down. His butt is the glass, and the place where you put the coins in is his head. It's like his third eye. Anyways, whatever. King of Swords. If you can infer what that means, he ain't taking shit. Nope. He's pretty robotic. He's pretty shut down. He's pretty emotionless when it comes to needing to make decisions, when it comes to conflicts, because that's what Swords deals with. Here we go. All the way to the back. Here we go. The embodiment of logic himself. The King of Swords wants you to examine your situation mathematically. Equations and formulas are most comfortable for our king, and the scientific method is his muse. The emotions are valid. It's not that they're not valid, but are they the most important thing right now? If our emotions were making the decisions, who knows where we would be? Back at the bar, drinking our life away. One more thing. Like, you guys get my foot today. It's hard sitting on the floor for a long time, guys. Alright. Which rune do we need for the Aquarius full moon? Which one? Ooh, it's the arrow. Deep. Okay. I feel like I drew this one. Oh no, I do have it. It's Tiwaz. Tiwaz. The one-handed god. Victory and honor. Victory. Freedom. Freedom from what we have yet to give ourselves permission to lay down. What we have yet to uncover within our own psyches. What we have yet to peel back the layers of, what part of this like filmy, gross layer are we chiseling now? Can we look at each individual layer and name it and see what it is so that we can make sure it doesn't come back? So we can make sure that we understand to some degree what's happening, what happened, why it happened. Knowing logically and then validating the emotions using that logic. For me, it was like learning, my attachment style about my parents, learning all that stuff, all of that logical stuff, understanding it in those terms helped me to validate my emotional reactions and my strong feelings that have, up to this point in my life, have always been, seen as a nuisance, always been seen as something I should hide, something I should, push down, something that wasn't really warranted, it was an overreaction or, oversensitive or whatever. And it's like, no, actually, I know exactly why I feel this way now. And it's not to like validate my victimhood. It's just like, it could be that to some point, but it's more on the journey of liberating, naming the thing. When we can name something, they say when you know a demon's name, you can conquer it. I don't know who they are. Maybe like Christians? I don't know who says that. But I've always heard that. And I always thought that was cool. It was a cool concept that expanded way beyond just, demons. And, it's like, what are demons? Is that what we're dealing with here in this these shackles, in this like prison of the mind? Is that who's keeping us stuck? Is like our demons are keeping us jailed there, and they're dangling the keys and on the other side of the bars, and they're like, yeah, you wish you could get out, but you can't figure out how to get to me. Or you can't, you can't name it. You can't figure it out. Missing that key. Speaking of that key, we got 2 squares happening to Chiron as well. Square of Pluto and Mercury. Both of them are squaring Chiron. Squares to Chiron never hit that softly. I'd like to say that Aries and Leo and Aquarius, Chiron, Pluto, Mercury situation is going to feel like a knockout, like a straight deck to the face, and you're going to get knocked out, and it's going to be like, fuck, what just happened? Thought I resolved this. Thought I dealt with this already. Now I'm getting knocked out, laid out by it by one more time after I thought I was done. It's okay if you're not done. It's okay. It's a long process. Nothing happens overnight. Pluto doesn't happen overnight. Saturn doesn't happen overnight. These are the energies we're dealing with. Let's be patient. Let's ground down. Let's use our tools. Let's not forget that God is always around when we have the eyes to see him, her, it, whatever you want to call it. Set your eyes on that future vision rather than wallowing. Sometimes you need to wallow. Don't listen to me. I've been wallowing for 2 days. Don't listen to me. I almost didn't do this video because I'm wallowing so hard. So, do your wallowing, but don't forget don't forget that Aquarius takes us up, 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 up in its spaceship, and then it says, look around. Do you see how vast and how tiny your problems are? So, thank you all. Appreciate you. Love you. Sending all the comfort, all the grace, all the forgiveness, all the sweet nothings. Because, yeah, that Aquarius can be cold, can be disconnected, can be avoidant. Let's make sure and if we're still seeking validation from others with this Leo, because that's what Leo can have the tendency to do sometimes, are we expecting someone to validate us that doesn't even know how to validate themselves and doesn't even know how to take care of themselves and doesn't even know how to, how can we expect anybody to do anything for us that they don't do for themselves? So if you resonated with this video, with this chaos, send it to someone that you think might like it. Hit that like and subscribe. I love you, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Peace out.